Okay, so today we're playing Tempered Steel Artifact Aggro. This is a deck that I first saw played by the Count Be Countered channel here on YouTube, so definitely do take a look at them. They are a pretty good channel, and I've seen a lot of really cool decks from them. They're always usually right on the pulse with things. So this is basically an artifact deck. Artifacts, as always, have been heavily supported in Magic, and we've seen them do things from ramp to combo to do some storm-related things. And in this situation, we are going to be playing an aggro deck. And so in this one, we basically just want to make a lot of small artifact creatures that can then be buffed by things like Tempered Steel, this 3-drop that gives all artifact creatures you control +2/+2, and Steel Overseer that buffs artifact creature that you control. So in terms of the cards that we can play, we're running Ginger Brutes, full play set of them. We are running a full play set of Esper Sentinels as one of our few forms of card draw. Portable Hole is our early game removal, and we have SKRELV, Defector Might, one of the new rares from Phyrexia All Will Be One. And then we also have his companion card, SKRELV's Hive, the 2-mana enchantment that makes you create 1/1s every turn at the expense of 1 life, and does some toxic shenanigans as well. Then another card from All Will Be One is Vault Scourge, a 1/1 flying lifelink artifact creature. And then we have Steel Overseer to buff all our stuff. We have Tempered Steel to buff all our stuff. And there's a 4 of Nettle Cyst, an absolute banger out of Modern Horizons. That is a living weapon, which means that it creates a creature and attaches to it when it comes into the battlefield, but later you can reattach the equipment if you so desire. This thing gets bigger for each artifact and enchantment you control, so pretty much everything that we're going to be playing will make our Nettle Cysts bigger. So this ends up being a huge threat right out of the bat, which is very good for us. And then at the top end, we have the absolutely broken card Thought Monitor, which has affinity for artifacts. It's a 2-mana draw 2 for 7 mana, but in a deck like this, we can very often get it down to just 1 blue mana. So 2/2 draw 2 for 1 mana, absolutely great. And it's a flyer too, because why not? Well, I've said something for pretty much every card that's in here. Basically, the idea is to get a curve going where we get a Steel Overseer out, a Nettle Cyst out, or a Tempered Steel out, and then we have a critical mass of creatures that our opponents can't block, and then they die. Portable Holes are kind of important in the early game to make sure that we can get under and around what our opponent's doing. And as long as we can do that, we're going to be good. There is built-in evasion in Thought Monitor's flying, in Nettle Cyst just being huge, Steel Overseer making our board huge, Ginger Brute can't be blocked. SKRELV can also make one of our things gain hexproof from a color, so there's some sort of protection in that. And Vault Scourge is yet another flyer. I guess I'll talk a bit about the lands. We're running a Darksteel Citadel, although you may want to run more than that. It depends on how far into the artifact lands you want to go. For me, I didn't want to go too far in there, but if we get 1 Darksteel Citadel, it usually doesn't hurt our early game. And then Spire of Industry, just a white or blue mana. Hollowed Fountain, white, blue mana. And then there's Blinkmoth Nexus, can make itself a 1/1 flyer for 1. So you can attach like a Nettle Cyst to it and go to town. So now I think I've covered everything in the deck. I think this is pretty good for the deck tech. This deck is really fun. We'll get some quick games in, and I think there's nothing else to do but just go out there and send it. Let's play some games. I'm pretty excited to play this deck. There are a pretty big difference between some of the decks that I play that feel like jank and the ones that feel very strong and very tight. Examples of this would be like Elves and Goblins. This is one of the decks that feels pretty strong and has a pretty tight game plan, so that will hopefully be evident here during today's games. So I am starting off on an Esper Sentinel on 1. I'm going to have to pay 1 life for it, but eventually we'll be able to either just kill our opponent or gain some life back once we draw one of our life linkers. So here, I guess I might as well just show another Dunes and then play Overseer. Or at this point, I think I can just do a Blink Moth Nexus and play Overseer. I think I'll just show the second white mana, and maybe there's a chance that our opponent thinks that we're not a artifact synergy deck. Though, anytime I see Steel Overseer, that's what I think my opponent's playing. So with their 2 white mana, we'll see what they can do. Looks like they're going to pass the turn. There's no creature to be played here. So I can play this one of 2 ways. I can either... Okay, so I was going to say that there was a potential to play Esper Sentinel, but at this point with Nettle Cyst becoming available, I'm absolutely doing that. Opponent did not play a... Or they did not foretell anything, so we know that there's not a board wipe coming next turn. So I think what I'll do is just get a Nettle Cyst on the board. Then I'm going to activate Steel Overseer to put 2 power on the board. And I would much rather do that than have it attack, since regardless of if I used it or not, I would have done 2 damage. Ah, so this is a Lauren deck. So we're going to lose Nettle Cyst, I think, most likely. That is definitely the bigger thing. So we lose our Germ as well. So now what to do? I can play Tempered Steel into Esper Sentinel. That's going to require a Shock of the Hollowed Fountain. I'm happy to do that. If my opponent wants to cast anything else, they are going to have to eat a double Esper Sentinel trigger. So she has just Vigilance, so it's not a first strike situation. I'm going to pay the 2 mana for this, and then activate Steel Overseer. And we got a 5/5 crashing in with 14 damage on board here. So they are going to go ahead and save their life here. It seems like they're going to try to board wipe on this next turn on 4 mana. No, it's just another Lauren. So we lose Steel Overseer, but we do get Esper Sentinels sticking around, and our Tempted Steel is still here. Let's just play another. So we have what is just about lethal on board here. Blink Moth Nexus can potentially close the game as well. We've got lethal next turn. We're going to hold up this island, and things are looking pretty good. Let's see what our opponent can do on 4 mana. I'd really like another Nettle Cyst here if they wipe the board. Then I can suit up Blink Moth Nexus and get going. Opponent seems to be on some mono white, maybe... Oh, interesting. Annex Sentry. Should I animate Blink Moth Nexus and see if they want to trade for that? Nah, that's just silly. Okay, so we're going to lose an Esper Sentinel, which is unfortunate. But they would probably be wise to block, though they don't need to. So we will get a Nexus inbound here, and that is in fact our lethal attack. They will need to block on the ground. And yeah, the Blink Moth Nexus has all creature types, which includes artifact creature. Okay. We got our Esper Sentinel back, and we can end our turn. We are now insulated against the board wipe with double Blink Moth Nexus and 2 Tempered Steels. That is 10 damage on board. Opponent can't really do anything here, I don't believe. And they agree. Alright, we did it in round 1. Let's move on to round 2. Okay, it's round 2. And we have the other half of our deck this game, it appears. It's a lot of 1-drops, and we do have the planes to cast the things that we want to do, so I think I'm fine to keep it. We kind of just chill here and vibe until we can get something that pumps our board. So the plan right now is probably to deploy a bunch of Esper Sentinels, and then get some sort of board going with SKRELV Scythe. Okay, so this is a 10th District Legionnaire deck. They're going to try to grow it, and I am going to wait until they do that and then portable hole it. So what I'm going to do now is try to get out early with things like Esper Sentinels that will draw me cards when they target their 10th district. And then I'll swing in for some damage as well. I think there's a pretty good case next turn for SKRELV's Hive. This thing gets bigger. I'm going to draw at least one card. Oh boy, I love my Esper Sentinels. We found the Steel Overseer that's going to grow our deck, and we do find Tempered Steel in case we get that third land. Or that second white source, rather. Looks like they have one more card to target district. Okay. And they'll swing in for 5. So I can kill it next turn, and then I have 2 mana for Overseer. So let's get Overseer in. And then Portable Hole kills Legionnaire. Alright, they're going to need to find another creature. They can buy Lurrus this turn if they don't have one. Otherwise, they're going to be in a whole heap of trouble soon. My next turn looks like I'm playing SKRELV's Hive. Okay, so they played out their Lurrus. Now the question is, do I want SKRELV or Gingerbrute in next? Doesn't seem to really matter to me, though. If I can get these SKRELV's Hive tokens buffed with Overseer, that feels good, especially because they're likely to use Lurrus next turn. So I should just get to buffing my board. Alright, so here is this guy. I get to Overseer and hit them for 6. Next turn, these all trade for Lurrus. And I'll be happy to do that. Thought Monitor opens up if we get a blue mana source, and Tempered Steel opens up if we find a white source. So we don't find that. However, we can SKRELV and then Vault Scourge. That is our life linker, which is good. And it will be getting bigger with Steel Overseer. Unfortunately, I should have done the Blinkmoth Nexus thing a little bit earlier so that I could have put a counter on it. But so be it. Yeah, so I guess I will just... I'll go in here with 6 damage, make them trade Lurrus. They don't have to trade Lurrus here, and I don't think they're going to. Yeah. Makes sense. But I think we're just going to end up going wide around them this next turn. So I think in most cases we have it here. Steel Stompy going to town. So I'm going to absolutely just double block here and make sure that I can get the kill onto Lurrus. They're probably going to do some BS to give it indestructible. But I just like to make sure I don't die. Defiant Strike, sure. See if they give me the card. They do. Okay. Lurrus gets a little bigger. He's still going to die. And unless they give it protection from something. There's the indestructible. Okay. Okay, and they do want to try to kill me. That doesn't do it. And they've kind of just, oh, they're trying to gain enough life. I see what they're doing. Okay, so let's do some math here. I have 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 plus Overseer. I think is exactly enough damage. It's not going to matter because what I'm going to do is pay 2 life. Nexus. Nexus, Steel Overseer, activate ability, and swing in for the win. Alright, so we did that on just 4 mana, which is pretty good. Okay, that was round 2. We were able to do it again. Let's move on to round 3. Alright, here's round 3. We have Tempered Steel and the ability to cast it. Got some early drops. Yeah, seems good. I actually have a perfect curve here using Vault Scourge and some life. That's perfectly fine for this deck, and then we're going to just try to go over the top with Tempered Steel. Interesting. Do I care about that? I don't think that I do. So I'm going to play... It actually doesn't matter how I do this. I'm going to play SKRELV and Volt Scourge. Now how much of a creature deck do I think they are? Either way, it doesn't matter. I'm going to wait till I get Tempered Steel out next turn. Voice of the Blessed, absolutely my next target for Portable Hole. Okay, so let's drop this blue mana out, and here is Tempered Steel. Take 2. And now all of these trade with Voice of the Blessed. I am going to go out on a limb and say that they do not block with Voice. And then next turn I still get to kill it. Yeah, that was a really good attack for me. We even gain a bit of life back, and this next turn for them is going to really suck. I'm going to Portable Hole, whatever they do. And if I was smart, last turn I would have played Blinkmoth Nexus so that it didn't have Summoning Sickness this turn, and then I would have exactly 12 damage. Okay, so here is a Gingerbrute with haste. Drop the Nexus. Let's use that to pay for the Gingerbrute. And then here is Portable Hole. Let's do this. And opponent gets hit for 9 this turn, no matter how they block. And they say that they don't want to be here anymore. All right. Well, we raced them to the door and we won. That was round 3. Let's play round 4. All right, here's round 4. It's a 1-lander and off color, so we can't play that. Here it is a bit better. Yeah, I think that's fine. I do have the Thought Monitor, which I would eventually like to cast. I do like having Portable Hole. Vault Scourge, Gingerbrute, Tempered Steel are all really important, so it's between Hole and Thought Monitor. I think Thought Monitor goes away. That's kind of a late game play. We're going to play Nexus early to make sure that it doesn't have any Summoning Sickness like it did last game. And then one thing that I didn't consider is I do not have the double white for Tempered Steel, or for any of these things for that matter. So I will play Vault Scourge on the Phyrexian side, and we will just get in there. And now we have a potential problem with our white mana. And we're playing Elves, one of the tougher matchups. Here's a 3-drop. I'm going to activate Blinkmoth Nexus, and we'll get in for 2. I can actually activate Gingerbrute and get in for 3 here. And Runner White Source would be great right here. If I can just draw 2 of those back to back, I am feeling absolutely good. We are, in fact, not cooking right now. We shock them a turn, but then they're going to start doing better than we are. We're going to make that a creature. We are going to make a Gingerbrute unblockable. And we get in for another couple of points. We're getting there slowly but surely with all the white cards in the world in our hand. If I was a bit more aggressive with my lands, I could be running a couple more split lands, possibly like the blue-white pathways. That could help the mana a little bit in this deck. But since I'm not doing that, all I need to do is be a bit more careful about the hands that I keep. This is going to be a pretty good example of when it bites you in the butt. And looks like I take that back because we drew exactly what we needed. So what do I need to kill here? This Ranger's kind of annoying. All their stuff makes mana. I'm going to make sure that their War Master can't do anything this next turn. We'll take the 1 mana from this. Kill that. Now they can't pump their board. I'm going to make the Nexus a creature. Gingerbrute unblockable. And that thing can block our Vault Scourge. Do I care? It can also take our Nexus. I don't think I care with either of those trades. I'm happy they took the Nexus instead of the life gainer. Okay. They can annoyingly still make a bunch of mana here. Yeah, I was hoping that it wouldn't be something like that. Alright, they're going to have a bunch of creatures here. And on Chapter 3 of Song of Freyalise, We are looking dead, in fact. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, we're exactly dead on their next upkeep. Oh, man. Hitting the white source for Tempered Steel and getting mana out of Vault Scourge does slightly get us out. Though after that attack, now we are in a whole lot more trouble. Well, I can get the Steel Overseer out. I can get Portable Hole out for something. Maybe it's a... SKRELV will have to chump block. Portable Hole will be a permanent answer to something. Okay. Then I should take the biggest thing that I can here, which will be the Wolf. Or I can actually... Oh, I can just take out Song of Freyalise. That's huge. Their board's so much less scary now. I have about a turn until I need to be scared again. Yeah, so they cannot block the flyer. I'll use that to gain a little bit of life. And getting another Portable Hole feels really good here to take out the second Song of Freyalise. And now we're just looking at each other here. Steel Overseer. Kind of what we need. We're going to make some counters. They swing in. I take 7, 8, 9, 15. So I do have to chump block. I'll chump block with Ginger Brute. Try to save Steel Overseer. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 damage. And I think I'm just a little bit too slow here with the Tempered Steel. Yeah, so I will need to block this next turn. I'm going to go to 1. And, yeah, even if I gain 4 mana, or 4 life, I am still dead. We'll let them do their attack and demonstrate the kill. And, oh, right, this happens. Oh, yeah, I'm just done. And they're indestructible. Yeah, I'll just concede. Okay, we were kind of close there, but didn't have as an explosive start as we needed. So that was our 4th game. We're moving on to round 5 now. All right, it's round 5. We have the white mana, and we have a pretty good hand here, so I'm going to keep it. I can go Ginger Brute into SKRELV's Hive, or Ginger Brute into Steel Overseer, more likely. That, I think, maximizes my damage. And then I'll decide later if I want to do Steel Overseer into Tempered Steel the following turn, or if I want to try to get a SKRELV's Hive to maximize on Steel Overseer buffing. For sure right now it's Steel Overseer. We'll see if they have a removal spell. I see that they're playing black. Okay, so they're going to ramp. We do need to watch out for death. And I think hitting our opponent this turn is a potentially good idea. Either way, I will shock this in. The question is SKRELV's Hive and SKRELV or Tempered Steel this turn. I think to maximize Steel Overseer value, I'm going to play the 2 spells this turn. SKRELV's Hive also does give us game against a board wipe. They could have Meat Hook Massacre, Extinction Event, a lot of different things. Binding of the Old Gods. Do they take Steel Overseer? They take SKRELV's Hive. Okay. Tempered Steel, Portable Hole. I think I just play Tempered Steel and go in. These are 5/5s. These are 4/4s. Okay. Let us not pay lay for this then, since I don't have a target for Portable Hole. And I'm going to play Tempered Steel. And I will just go ahead and Overseer, make these things bigger. Hit for 10. And all I need is 1 more combat step. We'll see if they have the removal for me. They have 5 mana. It's a bit awkward. There is 6 mana. Our stuff could definitely be dead. I imagine that it is. Must be Meat Hook. Okay, Liliana, sack 2 creatures. Okay. Square sacks 2 creatures. I guess I will get rid of SKRELV Gingerbrute. And, fortunately that does work. No, it doesn't. Blinkmoth Nexus for the win. Such a good card. Blinkmoth Nexus came in clutch for us. Okay, and we won a very, very quick round 5. Let's move on to round 6. Okay, so we're on the play once again in round 6. Our hand has a Esper Sentinel start, and with 1 land, we'll eventually get Tempered Steel out. That's pretty strong. I'm going to lead on the Sheffet Dunes. Turn 2, I have to decide between Gingerbrute and SKRELV Scythe. I think I'm going to play for the plan of getting a bunch of creatures out and then dropping a Tempered Steel. So that means that next turn is double Gingerbrute, unless they show me some sort of creature that's going to get in the way. Then I'll slow play it and do SKRELV Scythe. Speaker of the Heavens, I know that they're not going to block with that. I'm going to pay 2 life here, and because I drew Steel Overseer, that feels pretty good. Next turn, I can Gingerbrute, buff with Steel Overseer. We'll see if they want to trade with Speaker. Makes sense. Their turn 2 is probably some dumb Cleric. Hey, it's a Soul Warden. Okay, no blocks there. And we do get our 3rd thing. I can play a SKRELV's Hive and Gingerbrute. I'm going to do that, and then next turn it's Tempered Steel. Okay, they do gain their life. I will activate this ability and put 2 2/2s into their face. They can decide if they want to take it. At the very least, I'm keeping them off of Speaker transforming, so that just feels good. I think slamming Tempered Steel next turn and swinging in with 12 points of damage is huge. Yeah, eventually they're going to have things like Voice of the Blessed. I'm going to need a Portable Hole to deal with that. Unfortunately, Voice of the Blessed now gets to become really big. Blinkmoth Nexus can come in and swing. I think I'm going to... Oh, I can't do it if I cast Tempered Steel. I can play Gingerbrute, Vault Scourge, and activate Blinkmoth Nexus with its own ability, and then Steel Overseer everything. And then the following turn, I could do something else. Or I should look at not dying to Voice of the Blessed. So maybe I just activate Steel Overseer, or I just go in with Tempered Steel, actually. I think that's better. Steel Overseer, activate ability. And now I'm totally fine trading for Voice of the Blessed. They'll take 20. I mean, they'll take 10, sorry. It's a 1-for-1 trade, or they can chump block. Okay, they just decided to take it. I'm going to be trading for Speaker of the Heavens if the opportunity is given to me. Otherwise, we try to go over the top here. I will not play any of the creatures required to make Voice of the Blessed bigger. That thing getting bigger and becoming 6/6 does really suck for me. I'm going to go down half my life. Okay. Things get a little bigger here. And, yeah, sure. So I can play Gingerbrute, Animate Nexus, swing in. Okay. They gain a life, they make voice bigger, and I mean at this point it's either do or die for me. Because I think their Bishop of Wings plus whatever they play next is going to be a pretty tough thing for me to deal with. And now I do gain more by buffing with Steel Overseer, so I will do that. And I'm not even doing my attacking math, I'm just going to swing in. I'm pretty sure they just block and I'm dead. Is that right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they're not dead here, are they? That is in fact not lethal. They're at 6 life, and I am dead in the air this turn. We do have one out. That one out is they don't attack with Voice of the Blessed. Darn. Okay, so that was round 6. We took the L, and now let's get a dub here in round 7. Let's get it. Alright, we've insta-queued in for round 7. Let's try to have a tight game here and win it. One lander is not going to do it. That's a no from me. They keep 7, I go down to 6. 2 lands with no white mana is very scary. However, Gingerbrute Steel Overseer is good. I am playing something like 8 or 12 sources of white mana. So I have to decide if I am so crazy as to keep the hand with 2 Esper Sentinels that doesn't cast either of them. I think I'd rather keep this than go to 5. I have Gingerbrute Overseer, potentially Nettlecyst. So this is like a pretty good hand, and then I'd need to bin a Esper Sentinel anyway. So this hand is as if I would go to 5. It's just a question of would I have gotten the white mana next game anyway. Seeing them lead on a tapped Hallowed Fountain, I'm going to shock in and play Sentinel. And now I have Nettlecyst on turn 3, and we can try to go in with that. This seems to just be control, so let's get the Steel Overseer in. I'd rather play this into a counterspell than Nettlecyst next turn. So we'll be moving in with Esper Sentinel now. They can Essence Scatter or Censor, okay, sure. So this is a very specific type of blue-white control. This is very historic-like. They'll run Censor. You'll see a lot of the Split card, which I can't remember the name of. It's the one with Aftermath. So they're holding up mana to counter Nettlecyst, so I will play around that by doing the Vault Scourge. See if they want to counter that. Then it's going to be Gingerbrute following it up. So now that we know we need to play around Censor, next turn we'll be able to do that while casting Nettlecyst. And okay. We got 2 attackers coming in. They can Shark Typhoon for 1, so I'll just swing with the Gingerbrute. I would like to play around the 1 mana, or the 1/1 flyer. And that is a good thing for their deck, especially if they didn't have it. I'm having to make decisions to slow my plan down, and my plan basically is just go fast and don't die. So on 4 mana, they can either wipe the board or cast the Wandering Emperor. Looks like they're going to pass. They may be able to flash her in. Okay. So I'm going to lead on Nettlecyst and then see what happens. Oops. Let's cast the Nettlecyst. See if that eats a counterspell. Okay, Memory Deluge is fine, and we will get to draw a card off of it. We are clearing a lot of lands off the top of our deck here. Alright, so Nettlecyst will be somewhat large next turn. We do get to swing in with everything here. And What do I think they found here? Is it a board wipe? It's probably a board wipe. I don't think I keep my board here. Okay, yeah, seems about right. Haven't really seen a lot of this card before. This unfortunately can't be removed by anything that's in my deck, so all of my things are just ostensibly gone. With the exception of Nettlecyst, that is still around, and I can attach it to Blinkmoth next turn. Sure, I can not activate the thing that makes Gingerbrute sack for life. There goes my stuff. And Nettlecyst will add +2/+2 to the Nexus. Okay, move to my turn. We got a second Nexus. That feels good. I'm going to activate this Nexus. Then we will Nettlecyst. Okay. And there goes the Nettlecyst. And we do get to swing in for 3. This will be our potential alternate win con. Next turn I can play Darksteel Citadel as well. And we've got something going here. We can attack with a 4/4 every turn. And we can actually do up to 5 mana's worth of... or 5 damage worth a turn. I think in order to play around Settle the Wreckage, I'm going to attack with 1 Nexus at a time. Okay, so here's Citadel. Here is Gingerbrute. I will animate the Nexus. I'm going to attack in with just the Nexus, though. Okay, so let's do this. Let us attach this to Nexus. Opponent thinking what they would like to do here. So they're going to Field of Ruin me. Okay. So I will at least just... oh, whoops, hold on. Well, that's not what I wanted to do at all. Okay, well, darn you. I'm going to lose my Nexus. The Nettlecyst activation does fail. I will pick up a white mana source. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I misplayed twice. I could have floated mana out of Nexus and re-equipped Nettlecyst. Oh, that's so annoying. Well, I can only really just go in with 1 mana here. Darn you, MTGA auto tapper. Well, that's what I get for not tapping my own mana. Oh well. So they are not on any sort of removal. As I say that, they play a Wandering Emperor. Is this a -2 exile tapped creature? No, it's make a blocker. Okay.
We must protect the people.
Bummer. Okay. So that was a turn that did not go well for us. And that also may be the turn that they need in order to turn the clock in their favor. There's the Teferi.
I'm known for my excellent timing.
Okay, so they're going to make their creature a little bit bigger. Luckily, ours is evasive, and it will be very close. So Teferi's 1 out of our reach right now. Blinkmoth Nexus will be a 4/4. If we draw anything that any artifact or buffing related item, we'll be able to kill Teferi, which I will absolutely do. Okay, let's see what we get. Gonna need to be a good one, and actually, now that I think about it, we have to dodge whatever counterspell they're gonna be holding in hand. So my guess is that Teferi probably doesn't die here. Thought Monitor is kind of what we need. So we'll play this white mana. We can Thought Monitor for 5. Then we have 1 mana to do Inkmoth Nexus. I want to do that first so that it discounts Thought Monitor. So let's see. I should be able to do just about everything that I want here. Let's go ahead and make Blinkmoth Nexus into a creature. Oh, I think I'm one short. Whoops. Yeah, because now Thought Monitor is 4 mana. So that is just not enough to activate Nettle Cyst. Thought Monitor, I think, is more important this turn. I can take off to Fairy a little bit. I can Wandering Emperor. I could just Thought Monitor and see what happens. Thought Monitor could hit a number of things and set up my next turn. Yeah, I think I'm going to take a development turn here and just go ahead and swing in next turn. I'm going to cast the Thought Monitor first. I think this is as good as countered. If I have a counterspell and I'm in their position, I want to avoid me drawing more cards. Okay, so we do get our draw trigger. They could censor it. Okay, so they don't. And then I guess I can activate Nettle Cyst and put it onto Thought Monitor. Then next turn I have a follow-up Nettle Cyst, put it onto Blinkmoth Nexus. Teferi can tuck my Thought Monitor or Nettle Cyst. I'm going to put this onto Thought Monitor. We can actually set up a unexpectedly good turn next if we get a second Nettle Cyst out. Okay. Yeah, so we'll have a 7/7 and a 6/6 next turn with the Nettle Cyst. That is lethal in the air. Oh, dang it, they're going to kill my creature. Well, a second Nettle Cyst onto Thought Monitor does it. But I just have to think they have so many answers for Thought Monitor. I'm going to get blown out by playing Nettle Cyst, I think. I think I need to try, though, because they have somewhat infinite blockers with Wandering Emperor. They should not attack. Okay. And they're holding up all this mana. I need 5 mana to play Nettle Cyst and equip to Thought Monitor. Oh, we ripped the Nexus. Let's go. So what happens if I just move in with Thought Monitor and try to go face? That seems pretty good to me, actually. We'll see if they have a Wandering Emperor to remove Thought Monitor. With 4 cards in hand, they could just be holding up for Memory Deluge. Like, maybe I just got to try to send it this turn and then pass turn and go in on the following turn. I want to kind of spread out my attackers with Blinkmoth Nexus and Thought Monitor. So this is going to go at face, and then next turn I try to kill them. I don't want to auto-pass my turn. So they have to decide, are they playing a Settle the Wreckage type effect? Are they Memory Deluging to find an answer because they don't have one in hand? Based on how long they're thinking, it seems like they have an answer for Thought Monitor. Okay, so it's a Shark Typhoon. So we're somewhat punished for not playing the second Nettle Cyst. Crap. Well, I can at least make a very, very, very big Germ token or Blinkmoth Nexus next turn. So I'm going to play Nettle Cyst and suit up the Germ, trying to make it so that it looks like I'm going to be doing that. However, next turn, I want to be playing Blinkmoth Nexus. And I want to be activating all the Nettle Cysts on that. Crap. We do get to draw, though. Suppose I'll just do that as soon as possible. Okay.
We've got the edge in this fight.
All right.
You know what?
Good old Teferi doing his thing. And I'm kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel here. This game has gone on too many turns for my little aggro deck to make it through. But there's a chance we get lucky. They have tapped out their Shark Typhoon Defender. I take 11 and I have to kill them next turn. So I need to draw into an artifact and maybe another artifact after that. It's going to have to be some good draws here. I go down to 3. And I need to reserve 6 mana. 6 total mana, including the Nexus. Let's draw my card. Esper Sentinel. That's at least something. I'm going to have to shock Hallowed Fountain and go to 1, but it doesn't really matter because I don't have a way of surviving. Yeah, it's looking kind of tough. I might not have what it takes. I think I need another 1-drop that doesn't involve me taking damage. Let's try it. Ah, I drew a land. Okay, that I don't think is what I need. Colorless mana does not matter. I'll play Esper Sentinel. We'll potentially draw a card. Here's the Nexus. And then I'll only be left with 1 mana left over, so I can't even activate Chef at Dunes. Alright. All we can really do is make the Nexus really big. It's very close. I think, are we 1 off? I think we're 1 off, right? It'll be an 11-11. Oh my gosh, we are so close. So, I mean, they can tuck it next turn. They can do anything. I am basically just dead. I can't even defend with the Nexus. Well, I could, but then I would have to do the same thing next turn. So unfortunately, I lose no matter what. They're just cycling away, and we do just have to attack in. So if I don't... Okay, so I can attack them down to 1. I can Teferi. I can kill Wandering Emperor. But then I'll die to the Shark, so that's not an option. Blinkmoth Nexus can be reactivated on their combat step. And then I can just double chump block, but then I don't have an attack next turn, and I die anyway, so I'm just going to hit them for 11. We came close, and we were just 1 draw away. If that last Plains was any sort of 1-drop, which we do run a lot of, we had this attack here, and they were dead. Such a bummer. We were so very close. But it was at least a very interesting game. Opponent goes in, and they get to hit me for 11. I am dead. All right. So that is it for our Artifact aggro deck. We saw it do its thing a few games, and we saw it get run over a couple of times. That is the lifestyle of being out here in Historic, and the price of playing some fun decks. I had a good time regardless, and I hope you guys did too. If you liked the video, do drop a like on it, and subscribe if you want to watch more videos of mine. I'll be sure to check out new decks like this whenever things are available. So we got to take a look at SKRELV and SKRELV's Hive today. And yeah, hope you guys are enjoying all the new Phyrexial Will Be One content. Yeah, I already said subscribe, but subscribe if you want to see more. That's it for me. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out and have a good day.